Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prose Garden, a monthly lit series of celebrating all things prose. I'm Francine Witte in New York City, and my co-host, Meg Pokrass, is in Scotland in the UK. So today we have a wonderful lineup of readers. We have Barbara Diehl, Matt Kendrick, Joanna Thiess, Andrea Marcusa, Dave Alcock, Mikki Aronoff, Claire Bateman, Guy Biederman, Tiff Holland, and Louella Lester, and a beautiful audience in the Zoom room, and you, if you're listening later. So we're going to start, Meg and I, just to warm up the Zoom waves here with a short micro each. And I have a little 100-word story. My father's X-ray. Even with his memory gone, his teeth continue, and I take my father to the dentist because food must be chewed. And the father he was would never use a feeding tube. He was tall and strong and shirt muscles, but now he is a broken bird on the dentist chair. The X-ray on the computer screen shows the shadows of teeth that match the rest of his eerie white bones. From here, it looks like the rest of the skeleton that lives inside him, skin stripped away. Not so much an X-ray, but a photo of what is to come. Thank you. And now, to give us a micro, and then we'll get started with our readers, is the lovely and wonderful Meg Pokrass. Meg, take it away.
Thank you so much, Francine. I'm going to read a story called Fillmore Street, 2005, that was recently in a magazine called Gooseberry Pie, which is a 6-sentence story magazine recently founded by Jeff Harvey, and it's wonderful if you don't know about the magazine yet. Fillmore Street, 2005. She strides through the city with her labradoodle, hair in a retro 60s cut, cell phone plugged in her ears, ergonomic leather backpack, smiles when people notice the sound of her crazy ringtone chosen for her by the grown kids. They've gone mad. Later, licking espresso shots with foam, talking to her friend about the trials of dating divorced men, like rivulets going nowhere or hair and soup. Finally, she says it softly. The cancer appeared like jellyfish on the beach overnight, invisible but real. Here's the number for my intuitive healer, the friend says breathlessly, because, hon, let's face it, there's nothing more boring than death. So now I'm going to hand it back to my wonderful co-host, Francine Witte.
Thank you so much, Meg. So now the air is all warmed up. It's all sizzling and everything. So let's, without any further ado, let's hear from our readers today. First, we're going to hear from Barbara Westwood Diehl. She is a founding and senior editor of the Baltimore Review, which is a wonderful journal. Her poems and stories have appeared in a variety of publications, including most recently 5 South, another wonderful publication, Free State Review, Gargoyle, The Inflectionist Review, Raleigh Review, Ponder, Allium, South Florida Poetry Journal, Bacopa Literary Review, Fractured Lit, Painted Bride Quarterly, Poetry South, and Split Rock Review. Her shortest story is a micro recently accepted by Blink Inc. Barbara Westwood Diehl.
Thank you, Francine. I'm going to read 3 short pieces. I've written lots of hybridy pieces based on postcards. I love writing these, and postcards are a wonderful source of inspiration. Here's one that was published in the Inflectionist Review. Postcard from a museum of art. This museum is filled with works of art guarded by people in uniforms who ensure your distance, as does this postcard. As the postcard's recipient, you will know that I am likely safe and likely far from you. You will not see evidence of brushwork on this postcard. How in the tilt of light, the bristles leave scratches. How in the painting of a white gardenia, a honeybee is a sting of yellow on a soft petal. You may not notice how the canvas shows through in places. The blank where we began before the mixing of linseed oil and thinning of pigment, before the varnish. I picture you holding this postcard of a painting in a museum in a city where you have never been, adding it to the evidence of us. I picture you picturing me in stills from a security camera in the museum, where I stand still as a pencil sketch of myself, where I am a still life of the still living, where I am a landscape with a broken fence and a gilt frame, where I am a perspective drawing with vanishing points. And here is another postcard. And actually, I just got one of these today. It's a "We Want to Buy Your House" postcard. So I thought this is a sign from the universe that I should read this to you. And it was published in Journal of Compressed Creative Arts. "We would like to buy your property. This postcard wants to pay cash for my house. I imagine the money in Monopoly colors, the stacks of bills beside a game board, the dapper man with a mustache and top hat, a beauty pageant bouquet and sash, the little green houses grown to red hotels, the parade of thimbles and Scotty dogs, the stock dividends, the poor tax, the jail card, bankruptcy, a life unboxed. This postcard wants to know if I am thinking of selling, as if it knows I haven't been content, as if when I opened the mailbox, I had been dreaming of railroads and red hotels, of a man with a white mustache, a green bag of money in his fist, of a silver ship on its deep and distant sea. This postcard would like to buy my house, as if I had suddenly emptied my house of its contents and sat down on the front steps with my purse and luggage, the essentials, the sentimental, as if I had shaken my house like dice in a cup and emptied it onto the lawn, to see how many spaces to move along the flagstone walkway to the street, as if I knew where that would lead, as if I could walk away the winner." That last one, this last piece was published in Fractured Lit. It's not based on a postcard, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are Oz postcards out there. If not, there should be, right? Postcard from Oz. "Dorothy paints poppies from memory because she is still shaking the doorknobs of this broken farmhouse. The cyclone heaved from its foundation and dropped like an anvil on someone's feet in ruby slippers. Because she still dreams she strolls through a field of poppies, 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 and breathes the opium breath of forgetfulness, but always wakes in wheat. Because she can't forget those scenes in Technicolor, so she squeezes the pigment of the shoes' red sequins onto her palette. Because she regrets the return to the sepia tones of the Kansas prairie. Because she can't shake the lion awake, and the scarecrow is still hell-bent for Emerald City, and the Tin Man is heartless. Because she wants to forget that she was the one who promised him a heart, and to forget that the crows are descending on the crops back home, and to forget that she has to be king of her own forest. Because the paint on a bristle brush is the Tin Man's axe to the canvas that stretches flat and straight as a road alongside a Kansas cornfield, and poppies are a siren song through the sheaves. Because she still hears monkey wings and fighting trees in April wind, and hears poppies, poppies, poppies in her brush. Because she knows how to paint the burner flames below her Omaha State Fair balloon. Because she can't wait for a cyclone to take her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. That was wonderful, Barbara Westwood Diehl. And I love what you were doing with the repetition. That just created such a spell. It's beautiful. You know, I'm encouraging everybody to like post in the chat. You know, if you have comments or, you know, just readers, please make sure that you read the chat after, because while you're reading, you can't, but people write very nice things, we hope. Okay, so thank you, Barbara. Next is Matt Kendrick, who one of the nice things about having a reading is that you get to meet people you've only met, you know, online on Facebook or X-Twitter, as I like to call it. And Matt is just such a good promoter of other people's work. Besides being a great writer himself, he's really great at here's this story, here's that story, and he's a wonderful blog, and so, which he can tell you about. So anyway, Matt Kendrick is a writer, editor, and teacher based in East Midlands, UK. His work has been featured in various journals and anthologies, including Best Microfictions, Best Small Fictions, Cheap Pop, Craft Literary, Fractured Lit, Ghost Parachute, and the Wiggly Top 50. No small feat there. Website mattkendrick.co.uk, Writing Craft newsletter. I'll let you put that in the chat, Matt. Prattle, Beaugrand, and Gravel Rap Substack. That's his blog, his Substack. Blue Sky, Matt Kendrick, and Twitter, MK Writes. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Kendrick.
Thank you very much, Francine. I'm going to read a short piece called Black Anise, and that was originally published in New Flash Fiction Review, and it was reprinted in Best Small Fictions. Her body is on the ground by the pig pen. The abbess kneels beside it, washing away the blood, scrubbing at the blue dye until there is only the winter white of her skin. The prior stands nearby. He says, "Enough. She doesn't deserve such kindness." The woodcutter's son cowers in a corner like a pheasant, caught within a net. "She was in the woods," he says. Her hair was wild, her fingers clawed around a knife. The woodcutter asks, "Are you harmed?" The boy shakes his head. "She cackled when she saw me, licked her teeth, gave chase." The woodcutter picks up his axe. A good wife worries the woodcutter with tales of the past. "Children aren't safe in the woods," she says, "not with Anise in her bower." The boy's eyes grow big as the good wife describes the crone's crooked back. The blood spatters on her kirtle, the dye a smothering of blue. When a child goes missing, the villagers trawl the woods, calling, 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 the echo of their shouts, the smell of wild garlic. The smoke from a wood fire curls under a young man's nostrils. He follows its trail, stumbles across Anise soaking hide in potash alum. A deer's hide, he thinks, or a badger's, or a child's. Their splayed skin, he whispers years later, draped from the branches of a silver birch. In the village, a rumour trickles from mouth to mouth. Anise is pregnant. It is a wild beast who is the father. She's lured him with her witchery. The rumour grows with the swelling of her belly, the lacerating screams of her childbirth. The baby is covered with coarse black hair. It has a boil on its face the size of a fist. Is blue like her. Is silent. She wears its severed finger as a pendant. The men of the village get drunk and laugh about the woman in the woods. She is a thing to be hunted, to be tamed, as her mother was. One of the men, the bravest of them, cavaliers from the tavern. The others watch him go. The mead blusters sweet and scented down their throats. A boy hides in the bushes, watching Anise pick leaves from the woad plant, cut them, boil them, stir them, strain them into dye to smear the white of her skin. Bold as a foxglove peeking through the bracken, he asks about the dye. She shies away from him. When he asks again, she stutters. It is protection. A girl lives alone in the woods. From her mother, she knows which berries to eat and which will send her stomachs into cramps. She knows how to tan an animal's hide, how to fashion it into a kirtle. Sometimes she catches a rabbit in a trap and, overcome by hunger, holds the point of her knife against the pulsing sinews of its neck. Sometimes she slashes the knife, and there is blood across her kirtle. Other times she loosens her grip and lets the rabbit scamper free.
Thank you, Matt. That was just astounding. That just, can I just say, accent? Gorgeous. I could listen to that all day. Beautiful work, Matt. And the writing itself is so exquisite. You had me at the winter white of her skin. From there on, it was like, yeah, I'm with it. I'm down. So thank you, Matt Kendrick. Wonderful having you in the Prose Garden. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to alert you that we have the closed captions on. You can activate them if you go to more and then captions and that might be good if you want to make sure you're not missing one single word of this beautiful prose that we're hearing. So just a thought. Anyway, let's continue with this wonderful evening with Joanna Thiess. Joanna Thiess is a writer living in Washington, D.C. Her stories have appeared in Chautauqua, Pete Smoke Journal, and Milk Candy Review, among others. And she is associate editor at 5 South, which I love. In a past life, Joanne worked as a lawyer practicing criminal defense and international trade law. You can find book reviews, links to her published work, and her mosaic collages at Joanna Thiess, THEISS.com. Joanna Thiess.
Thank you, Francine. Thanks so much for having me. Like anything decent I've written in the last year, this story was inspired by one of Francine's wonderful pop-up prompt classes. So if you haven't done one of them with her before, I highly recommend it. So this story was published in Many Nice Donkeys in the fall, and it's called Barrier Islands. Giselle's membership in Save the Turtles has lapsed, but she wakes up with me anyway. From the top bunk, she watches me put on the reflective vest I wear to help guide the sea turtles from their underground nests into the Gulf. Giselle leans down with the blankets around her shoulders and braids my hair and lists all the ways sea turtles can die. Crushed under car tires, snapped in half in an osprey's beak, suffocated by algal blooms, decapitated by the propellers of a motorboat. Giselle's new boyfriend is 22 and sells drugs to the tourists. In the mugshot on the sheriff's website, he smiles so wide his face cracks open like a canyon. Giselle reads the list of crimes he's served time for, shrugs, and says, "At least he didn't use a gun." Giselle was suspended, but nobody will tell me why. When the bus drops me off after school, Giselle is in the front yard, lying out on a beach towel. Her bikini is untied and the skin on her back has burned to the color of the inside of a watermelon. I am supposed to make sure that Giselle stays in the house and finishes her chores while Mom works a double at the resort, but snitching is worse than crying about dead sea turtles, so I walk past Giselle and into the kitchen and hope that none of the neighbors will tell on us. Giselle's boyfriend makes us ride in the back because we are jailbait and he can't afford to get pulled over. As the Honda idles at a four-way stop, Giselle feeds me the lie I'm supposed to say to Mom in case she finds out we're gone. Giselle has to shout over the car's bass, rattling from speakers in the trunk. When I get it right, Giselle leans in close. She smells like perfume stolen from the mall. She says, "Happy birthday, chicken." The lobby is crammed with people wearing t-shirts with the band on them. I grab Giselle's hand as the overhead lights in the lobby flash, but she says, "I'll meet you in there." Her pursed lips are quick blinking lash extensions say she's worried, which means I should be too, except the wave lifts me into the theater and the band takes the stage and the energy crackles through me like static. I am not alone. The crowd knows all the words to all the songs too. I snap my fingers above my head, bracelets crescendoing down my arms. I think I am 14 years old today. On the ride back to the island, Giselle leans against her window and doesn't speak, even when her boyfriend reaches back and pats her knee and says, "You did good." I want to describe the concert to her, but I'm not sure if her boyfriend knows that she missed the whole show. Because I don't know who is in on which secret, I don't speak either. The car bends over the causeway. The sky is starless, the bay stripped of color. In the field next to the detention center, white ibises strut through beggarweed and crabgrass, picking up bugs in their curved beaks. A white ibis cannot digest the shell of a sea turtle, but it can eat 50 insects in a single day. The wind lifts the corner of the homework I haven't finished. I begged Mom to let me go inside and see Giselle too. Mom said it's not a place for kids, yet that is exactly what it is. That's what the word juvenile means. Giselle used to tell me ghost stories, knowing they would scare me so badly that I would crawl up into the top bunk. There, she would put her face in my hair and clutch me to her like I was her teddy bear. When she was 4 and I was 2, she gave me a nickname, and now she's the only one who calls me by it. My sister has secrets, but when I reach up on tiptoes to hear her tell me this one, she closes her eyes and pretends to sleep, a stranger to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. That was just beautiful. Joanna Thiess. And thank you for the shout out about the prompt sessions. Contact me if you want to know more information about that. One thing I want to say too about this beautiful, beautiful prose and flash community that we have, that we're so fortunate really to have, is how many have just a good support. And to that end, I just want to give a shout out to some of the luminaries, the flash fiction luminaries that are here today. Unbelievable. Mary Grimm, Pam Painter, and my beautiful 99-year-old aunt. She doesn't mind me telling you that because she's just gorgeous. Miriam Mandel, Lucinda Kemp, Bill Merkley, Epiphany Farrell, Valerie Fox, Jessica Klimisch, who I just accepted a couple of stories from for Flash Boulevard, Luann Castle, Rachel Smith, and Amy Marquez, Dawn Steffler, Jane Sammons, Rena Palumbo, Jeff Harvey, Annie Banerjee. And if I missed anyone, I'll get you on the next go round. But thank you so much for being here, because you could have been doing anything else. And we realize that. You could have been sitting there twiddling your thumbs, but you're here and we love you and we appreciate it. So next up, we have Andrea Marcusa. Andrea Marcusa's work has appeared in Gettysburg Review, Cutbank, River Teeth, Citron Review, and many others. She's received recognition in a range of competitions, including Smoke Long, Best Microfiction Cleaver, and others. She's a member of the faculty at the Writers Studio in New York City. Andrea Marcusa.
Thanks so much, Francine and Meg. And I have to say that I feel like Francine has been sort of part of my Flash life from the moment I started, and Meg has been such an important inspiration for me and continues to be, with her energy and her enthusiasm. Meg, they broke the mold when they made you, seriously. So it's like this is just the Meg society here. Anyway, I'm going to read another sister story. So I think it's kind of cool, Joanna, that you and I have sister stories back to back. This is called Highline. 3 days after Mom's funeral, from the service in Sonoma, walking the High Line at night in the rain. The showers are soft but steady, and the gentle pit-a-pat fills the cautious silence between us. It hurts to talk about her being dead. We step in unison through the muggy mist, high above the shine of high beams on the wet street below. My arm begins to ache from holding the umbrella to my left so Nikki doesn't get wet. I switch hands. Finally, Nikki says, "I'm glad to be home where it rains. I hate how hot and dry it is in Santa Rosa. I think it killed Mom." "Who could live there?" I say. "I wish she'd never gone west. She should have stayed here with us." I remember Mom until she moved away 7 years ago,
weeding her garden in Connecticut. She always complained about the mosquitoes. It's better when it rains, she'd tell us. When it stops, they swarm you and you get eaten alive. After she left for California, I missed her garden. I survey the wild grasses and ivies thick with growth on this abandoned trolley trestle that makes up the High Line and wonder if they hold swarms ready to attack after the rain. I don't know why she ever left the East, I say. She wanted to spend her last years with her firstborn children. She always preferred them, says Nikki. As the last two of four, Nikki and I have always felt like no matter what we did, everyone had already seen the movie. I'll hold it for a while, Nikki says, and she takes the umbrella. The rain pelts and we squish together to stay dry. Tonight, her cheeks are the same ruddy rose as Mom's. This thought lands somewhere so deep and sore in me that it throbs. You think Mom's watching? Nikki asks. She sounds so wishful, as if she misses Mom even more than I do. Nah, I say, she's busy seeing her dead friends. She outlived them all. Yeah, you're probably right. You know, she's insulted everyone. I never understood why people liked her. She complained about others constantly, especially you and me. You think? Nikki says, rolling her eyes. She hands the umbrella back to me and says, near death by a million cuts, and sweeps her hands from her shoulders to her toes. Then she adds, I don't know, there was something about her. I recognize a sad face that I haven't seen since she and I were small, the girl who always acted so tough, but underneath was softer than me. When do you go back to work? I ask. Sales meeting tomorrow. Can't you call in sick? You mean just hang out and do nothing and get even more depressed? Well, I thought you and I could do a few days of mourning together, you know, sister stuff, like massages, a movie. I stick out my tongue and catch a raindrop. I thought it'd be nice, I say. Emmy, you always get like this. Nikki raises her voice. Let it rest. I have to work. There's an office full of people depending on me. I don't freelance like you do, or whatever it is that you do these days. I can't take a day off whenever I feel like it. A condescending jab and her critical tone that stings, just like Mom's could. Nikki and my mother have always known how to make a direct hit. I grow silent and I grow quiet and silently argue with Nikki, telling her that she has no idea what it's like to lose a job, start a consulting business, and hop from project to project. But there's no use arguing, not tonight. So I keep my mouth shut tight. She's here, hovering, Nikki says. She's flying back and forth across the country, watching all of it. I remain silent while she continues talking, but her words don't register. Her voice trails off and she glances at me, slightly baffled, realizing that I'm upset. She tries again. You know, it really sucks that she's gone. I remain quiet. At least we didn't eat all the pasta at dinner tonight, she says. I'm not getting fat just because Mom died. Then she adds, we'd be the 2-ton Tessie sisters. Remember that song Mom used to sing? Down in Tennessee, there's a sight you have to see. Before I can stop myself, I'm chiming in. There's a girl named Tessie Town. Nikki starts laughing, and then I begin, and suddenly we're both crying. I look away from Nikki and wipe my tears with my sleeve. The rain has kept the tourists away tonight, so the entire 30-block vista has been wide open. Alone on the High Line, it feels like it's just Nikki and me in this huge metropolis under this tiny umbrella making our way. But really, it's always felt like this, Nikki and me, the only two unplanned kids, the last two, or as Mom put it, the uh-ohs. I wonder if this explains why losing Mom hurts so much, because we never received enough from her when we were young and needed her the most. You're right, I say, this really sucks, my white voice quavering. Nikki shifts her purse on her shoulder, her face softens. Do you want to stay downtown and have a sleepover in my apartment tonight? I look back at her with a little sister nod and smile. Then Nikki does a big sister thing that she hasn't done in years. She puts her arm around me and gives me a squeeze hug and says, "We survived because we had each other. Nobody paid any attention to us unless they were criticizing us." The two of us walk, the rain eases, headlights look like starbursts in the mist. "Here," I say, and I hand the umbrella to Nikki. I walk ahead, feeling my tears flood again and mix with the falling fine rain. Before us lies at least 5 blocks until the High Line ends. I wonder if we'll reach the exit before the mosquitoes come out to bite. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. That was mesmerizing. Really. It was wonderful, as always. Andrea Marcusa. And again, readers, please put your links in the chat to maybe your website in case people didn't catch that in the bios that I read and all. So feel free to do that. And I wanted to just give a shout out to some of the other people that I didn't mention in the audience. David Daniel Adderkut, Angelina Schellenberg, Annika Hanford, Emily B., Marlene Fedora, it's a cool name, Dana Tozer, Wanda Lester, James Hamilton, Carol Dorff, Andrea Fitzpatrick, Kim Hagrick. And I think one of the reasons I mentioned the people who are here is that, sometimes in a Zoom, you can go to a Zoom and think, did they even know I was there? I think that's how I feel a lot of the time. So I really want everyone to know we see you and we're grateful. Meg and I were so grateful that you're here. And thank you. Next, and my final reader, and then we're going to move on to, I'm going to turn over to Meg. Dave Alcock. Dave Alcock's short forms can be found in a range of online journals that include Everyday Fiction, Flash Frontier, McQueen's Quinterly, the Journal of Radical Wonder, and the Dribble Drabble Review. They have also been printed in 2 anthologies published by Ad Hoc Fiction. His work is highly distilled, often tasting like poetry, and has been nominated for Best Microfiction, Best Small Fictions, and Best of the Net. Dave Alcock.
Hello, all of you. Thank you, Francine, so much for that. Just very quickly, just to say how nice it is to be here with all of you. There's a lot of people that I've met, and I've got so much respect for them, so it's lovely to be here. I'm going to be reading 3 pieces tonight. One which is about horror, one which is about hope, and one which is about magic. So I'll get on with it now. The first piece is called Congeners. One of them is lying in the dust close to the fence. The others are facing her. Her eyes are half closed. She looks tired, breathing deeply. The plumes of her chest go up and down. Why is she looking away? I wonder. Why has she turned her back? One of the others comes forward, reptilian legs stalking, thick boned toes stretching, claws pointed as murderers' knives. She advances so slowly, and still the one in the dust looks away. Stalker lowers her shoulders, clucks quietly, indifferently, and pecks. It is a hard peck, an attack. I recoil, and the one in the dust merely blinks. This goes on, and because of the cruelty, I turn away. But I go back. Now those blinking eyes are closed, and the dead feathers are pale with the dirt, and the stalker is squawking excitedly, and the other ones are gathering around. Maybe they're taking turns now, but the big one is still in charge. The pecking is now feeding. Each blow is a ravening bite until the stalker takes hold with her beak and begins tugging and ripping from the body, then noisily flapping her wings and rising up in flight with the dead one's springing, uncoiling intestine dangling pinkly and wetly from her mouth. And in the air now, there is not just this horror, the savage congener, and the otherworldly entrails. There is my innocence and my feeling of safety, my childhood, trapped as it ceases to exist. The next one's called Lorikeets. Look up and you may see it. Screen of brightly coloured birds that flashes through the treetops like a psychedelic wind. Here, where the sky is grey and the leaves fall thin and yellow, where wet mud slips beneath a worn-out shoe sole and a toe squeaks inside a waterlogged sock, where a foot aches and a body is powerless, where a neck creaks and stiffens and rebels. Beyond the high street, beyond the traffic, the pavements, beyond the markets, the arcades, the stalls, beyond the people, beyond the gate, beyond the entrance, beyond the memories, beyond the grief and despair, where hope fails and vision is flightless. Look up. Lorikeets may be there, with bibs red as volcanic lava, with faces purple and frosted as plums, with feathered wings green as ripe avocados. Look up. Lorikeets may be there. And one final piece, Sycorax. I'm a witch, she said. And you thought, how ridiculous. Though even then you felt something like fright. She was crazy, but she was also magnificent. Your mentor at a school, perhaps the best you would get. Rules fizzled out as she glanced down corridors. Silence fell as she swept into rooms. You locked your door. She left hers open. But her desk was perfect. No one touched it. No one dared. The dysregulated purred as she charmed growth from them. Hackney's wildest lapped sententiae from her hand. Cerise hair and blue morpho eyelids, crooked yellow teeth. A monster, a disgrace, but a progenitor, a maker, a mistress, with an Axl Rose boyfriend who was less than half her age. Such incandescence, such prominence, such intransigence, such vulnerability, such womanly strength. I'm a witch, she said. Was it really so ridiculous? Were you not chained by her refusal to comply? Does she not haunt you years after she has vanished? Are you not still whipped by the lightning of her eyes?
Wow. Thank you, Dave. That was just amazing. You're not kidding about the poetry, flirting with your prose. The dangling pinkly and wetly from her mouth. Oh my goodness. What a
Well,
great
glad you
line
liked
that
it.
is.
Thank you,
Oh,
Francine.
beautiful. It was just so beautiful. And thank you. That was Dave Alcock. And thank you for joining us in the Prose Garden. I wanted to thank my readers on my half of the program. for some serious gorgeousness, really. I mean, I was just, so now I turn it over to the second half of the program. If we were in real life, I'd say go get a drink at the bar, but there's a no drink minimum here, folks. So, whatever you want to do is fine. Here's the rest of our program, the lovely and wonderful Meg Pokrass.
Thanks, Francine. Boy, those were fantastic readings. When I think about the talent in this virtual room we're all in, it just freaking blows me away. So it's an honor to be here with you all tonight and to be hosting this reading. So I'll roll right into my first reader tonight. This first reader has a very beautiful long bio, but sent me a very short little phrase or two about herself. Mikki Aronoff scribbles away in New Mexico and has staring contests with her dog. Welcome, Mikki.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here sharing time with all of you. You're such a sustaining community. I don't know what I would do without you. I think I'm a bit crazy to have chosen the story I chose to read because save until the very last is one long sentence. It was published in Boudin, which is the online arm of the McNeese Review. And Meg, I tweaked this story in one of your wonderful workshops. No one says the C word at the Comprehensive Cancer Center. You haul your ass and your cancer over for your 1 o'clock. The cancer, your newly uninvited passenger, all grunt and elbows, jostling for space, smack dab in the middle of you, this bully breed, unruly teen. Mercy, they grow so fast. While feral figures, all sinew and stealth, come poking, prodding like those buzzard girls from 6th grade who closed ranks against you at lunchtime and didn't pick you for their teams. Like Miss Foote, who in kindergarten made you drink all your juice before you choked on your dry graham crackers. And blood takers breathe frost like the snow queen on the once ticklish insides of your arms, and later in the frigid clinic room you sit and shiver till you're numb, needing to hear something you can Google when you get home, some variation of body part plus unknown. But no, they glance everywhere but at you, at the walls, the ceiling, the floor, then chirp to your lump, your bump, as if it were a newborn comes screaming into this world, not this lanky delinquent eating you out of house and home. They warble, well then, as their icy fingers cup your bulge, your burl, your nodule, your neural, till you want to growl, just give me a name. But they're on a roll. Whooping sends halts or hesitations to your scourge, your plague, your curse, praising your courage to come, then passing you up and down and over and around and through their silent chain, leading you to add vertigo to your list of complaints and begging on your knees, could you please, maybe please give me some kind of diagnosis? In a Coke, you joke, hold the fries. But no, they order more tests. So their cohorts, buddies they booze with and screw on weekends, can poke and prowl and prod some more, and you sigh, supposing it's all sex when you see them clump and whisper just outside the door of your room. You reckon they'll be busy for a while, so you exhale, unclench tight shoulders and buttocks and tiptoe around, jiggling open cabinets, looking for slippery answers, hunting like Sherlock for shy explanations, wondering, are they all in on it? This conspiracy of euphemisms, and you shudder, fearing soon you might start to emulate them and yammer about your grit, your pebble, your boulder, or curl into yourself like a roly-poly to discuss the minutiae of your fleck, your moat, your nubbin. or whimper as you shrivel and flick at your fly speck, your snippet, your scrap. So you shake away that thought and look out the window, or you spy security guards stomping on nomenclatures, trying to sneak in, at custodians sweeping up word corpses, bagging them for the dumpster. And you stare, stiff and agape, at interns playing badminton with syntax in the parking lot, Latinate phrases soaring like shuttlecocks toward the sun overhead, extruding like fries through the tight weave of their rackets, becoming a scenic. Your hair bursts into flames. You bolt from the room, smoke billowing from your scalp, run down the hallway, reach for the alarm, pull the red handle, and scream, "Cancer! Cancer, 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 cancer."
Wow.
Thank you. Next, please.
Oh, wait, so is that your very last piece? That's your first and your very last? That's your, okay, sorry, I thought you were reading more. Oh my God.
Oh God, no.
I was wondering how you were going to read more after that. It was just so moving and such magic, such incredible wordplay. I don't think anybody writes like you, Mikki. Nobody else could say it that
Nobody
way.
writes like anybody else.
I know,
We're all...
but you take the cake. It's really it's your wordplay and how that slips under our skin. There's nothing else like it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, I can breathe now.
And so now we're moving on to Claire Bateman. Claire Bateman is the author of 9 poetry collections, most recently Wonders of the Invisible World with 42 Miles Press and Scape with New Issues Poetry and Prose. Her hybrid collection, The Pillow Museum, is forthcoming with FC2 Press in January 2025. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Meg. And thank you, Meg and Francine, for this wonderful gathering. And it's really amazing to see so many people that I've read their work, I've read your work and have been in awe of you and enjoyed your work online and various journals, and to see you all in one place is just wonderful. And the next best thing to being in person. Thank you. This is called Going Under, and it was just published in Glacier. We sleep when our skin becomes saturated with light. We sleep to escape from noonday glare, flat light, ghost light, the hour when spirits walk, as the ancients believed. We sleep because we're exhausted by the 71 dimensions of sky bearing down on us, inexorable as stone. We sleep because we run out of thoughts, or we have too many thoughts, or the spaces between the thoughts have grown thick with a soft gray substance that's neither fur nor mold, but like them in texture, exuding a subtle soporific fog. Some of us sleep as punishment, sent supperless to our severe and narrow beds. Others sleep for indulgence, arms outflung, luxurious expanse unfurling. We sleep incidentally, we sleep incrementally, we sleep exuding dreams like the voluptuous ink clouds of an octopus garden. We sleep in our feet like horses, curled over the steering wheels of parked cars, and sometimes terrifyingly as we drive. We dote on sleep as if it's a delicate only child that we'd ply with bonbons, bedeck with pearls, and daub with tinctures of crushed diamonds plucked from the coronation tiaras of popes and queens. We bargain with sleep, we chastise it, we compete with each other over its supreme inadequacies. I had the worst night. No, mine was far more wretched. We stalk our sleep, dragging our paltry nets and snares behind us as we crawl over miles of crushed glass and barbed wire toward where it was last sighted. We sleep in layers, we sleep in stages, we sleep through sequences of false awakenings as though tumbling down the stairs of sleep through sub-basement after sub-basement in interminable descent. We sleep through the first, second, third, and fourth watches of the night, and in the intervals between them that are made not of minutes, but of slippage and unlikeness. We could say that sleep is a waste of time if we knew what time is. We could say that time is a waste of sleep, but while dreaming, we're everyone we've ever been, and we're the death self we like to pretend is a stranger, though it's been our nearest companion from the very first breath. We sleep incandescently, we sleep phosphorescently. In sleep, the body breathes as houses do, no matter how many caked up layers of caulk and sealant the owners have applied, slow seepage of breath, voices, memories, aromas, and soul glow. Who lived in your house before you? What dream residue brushes your face like spider silk as you cross the threshold between rooms? And long before there were houses, the land itself slept during great freezes, when the fishes dreamt in suspension, torpid under layers of ice, and during the aftermaths of floods, when everything was tranced and still. That was the sleep of history before the twinkle of electronic devices in every room like domestic constellations. Now sleep texting is on the rise, since everyone beds down near or even with their phones as though connected by an unseen umbilical cord. So in the morning, pixels reveal the heart's occult detritus, like broken shells and fish bones exposed by a receding tide. Complaints, declamations, confessions, personal manifestos, breakups, propositions, and proposals. Yes, the culture of sleep is changing. There's sleep shopping too, a retail extravaganza in the emporium of night. And that's only the beginning. Soon all vehicles will be autonomous, sentient metal pods bearing slumberers, chipping away at their sleep debt's compound interest, so that dreaming will be associated with motion itself, and the very act of getting into a vehicle will cause us to nod off. We'll wake up just in time to stumble into work, though there's something about sleep that will never be commodified, never turned into capital, because the real reason we sleep is for relief from the sensation of being always, repeatedly, and continually ourselves. Ourselves when we wake up in the morning, ourselves when the clock strikes midnight, and in between as we pause to check during micro moments of awareness, still ourselves. Who would have thought it? Thank you.
That was wonderful. Oh my God. It really made me think about sleep in so many ways I never have. That blew my
Thank
mind.
you.
It was beautiful. Thank you so much, Claire. So next we have Guy Biederman. Guy Biederman is the author of Translated from the Original 1-Inch Punch Fiction, which I have right here, Black Lawrence Press. His work has appeared in Carve, Flashback Fiction, The Disappointed Housewife, McQueen's Quinterly, Great Weather for Media, and many other journals. He lives on a houseboat in Sausalito, California, and walks the planks daily. Welcome, Guy.
Thank you, Meg, and thank you, Francine. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here. I'd like to share two pieces. The first one is from my book, Edible Grace, Lyrical Microprose, published by Kaiso Flash, and it's called Noun and Verb. The noun is our friend. Take fork, take pencil, take duck, dock, pelican, cake, cat, carpet, house, wagon, road. Adjectives are that gushing, well-meaning, but untrustworthy peer who says we were the best, most lyrical, most literate, mellifluous poet at the open mic last night, the absolute kindest person in the world and the nicest friend ever, until we just don't know what to believe anymore. We know what we want to believe, sure. We also know we want another slice of cake, too, another tall glass of cold milk. But are we really hungry? Do adjectives and adverbs do anything else but make us want more? Add on a qualifying layer. Do they enhance or make us wonder that whatever we thought was simply true might just be otherwise? Sugary icing on sweet cake, scaffolding on a building already painted. Check-on baggage when carry-on will do. The noun is our unadorned friend, the one we call in a pinch, the one who will tell us if our haircut sucks, the one who will tell us if our complaining sounds like whining, who will tell us if our brilliant stoner's mind poem needs rewriting on a sober morning 3 days from now. Nouns show us the way, verbs take us there, where the writing arrives at the end of the page, the pen having done its work, with dicey adjectives and just in case you didn't get it adverbs, but mere tincture drops, sparingly used. Unburdened by the gooey, by the gummy, by the show-off clatter of look-at-me similes, we return to the top of the page and read what before we only thought, but didn't know, what we felt, but hadn't expressed, what we now clearly see and feel and trust and know. That's what friends are for. Verbs are the bees, nouns the flowers. A group of verbs is called a vibration, a group of nouns a matter. Even a vibration needs to rest. Bees do sleep, by the way, and honey can stay true forever. That was noun and verb. This is the microfiction called Lovers of a Bygone Era, originally published in McQueen's Quinterly, and it's in my 1-inch punch fiction. It was never about camping or hiking or climbing to the top of a peak or bird watching or getting back to nature or cowboy coffee over a campfire in the morning or making love in a tent or sharing a sleeping bag for two or even one. You were scared of heights and I was scared of you leaving. Face your fears, said your yoga teacher, Zario. A weekend retreat, though you refused to use that word. Let's call it a weekend advance instead, you said. And I, out of my league, unable to touch my toes, unable to empty my mind, unable to even breathe right, the one who farted while trying downward dog in front of the class, went along. The trail was precarious at best. Mountain goats would have been put to the test. On the climb up, I filled the sentence, the silence, with chatter. Do you know goats have different accents depending on where they're from? Animal facts felt real to me. So did the chain handrail as I inched up the narrow ledge of straight down mountain. Dodo birds had wings but never flew, I said, only used them for balance like a tightrope walker. Wouldn't that be handy right about now? I laughed. Of course, dodos became extinct. Bad ideas have a way of finding their way out of the gene pool, right? You were focused, silent, tongue stuck out in concentration. I wore tennis shoes, you hiked barefoot. I thought of what we call waffle stompers in the 70s. It seemed a new day then, down jackets, gorp, hiking boots with enormous textured soles. Now my Adidas felt inadequate as I trailed you, followed your footprints in the dirt. How could that not hurt? Granite and shell, mountain thorns, you were somewhere else. Embracing pain, you did not feel it. Releasing fear, it let you go. Letting go of the chain freed you from all attachments. The PR job you despised, the condo with its dreaded homeowners association, a cult of self-importance, you called it, and fear itself. Fear of falling, fear of dying, fear of missing out, and fear of being alone with me, apparently. I stood on the trail, gripping the chain, unable to move forward, unable to move backward. Iron links penetrated my palms. A shiver of altitude passed by me. Flannery O'Connor made the papers as a 6-year-old when she taught a chicken to walk backward. The longest flight of a chicken on record is 13 seconds. 13 seconds. I eased my grip, fingertipped the chain, stared at the side of the mountain. An inch from my nose, an ant made its way over a rock and encountered another ant. Ants bow to each other in greeting. You were no longer there to hear that fact, see that act of wonder. Ants herd aphids and drink their sugary liquid, the only animals to farm other animals, though sounded more like slavery to me. As usual, I'm at my pithiest when there's no one to hear me, with no paper to write down deep thoughts. Paralyzed in place, I marveled at the priceless, worthless, million-dollar view below. Moa was the only known bird born without wings. Huge and friendly, they were easy prey, walking targets, extinct by the 1400s. Did Zario, the yoga teacher, believe in extinction? Is that what happened if you couldn't touch your toes, failed to execute mountain pose on a steep ledge? There was no advancing, no retreating, no growing wings, no forgetting the fact book you gave me for Valentine's Day, Animals of a Bygone Era. Back in the 70s, Paul Simon said there were 50 ways to leave your lover. I said, let's make it 51 and let go. Thank you.
Oh, that was funny and sad and wise and everything else in the world. Did Flannery O'Connor really make a chicken walk backwards? Is that really true? Oh my God, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Guy. That was wonderful. It was wonderful to hear you read and to hear you read longer pieces as well. Because Guy is known, very well known for his very tiny pieces, his 50-word stories, as well as longer stories. All right, our next reader is Tiff Holland. Tiff Holland's poetry, prose, and creative nonfiction has appeared in dozens of journals. She's the author of the poetry chapbook Bone in a Tin Funnel. She won a Rose Medal Prize for her chapbook Betty Superman flash fiction chapbook, which later appeared as a novella and flash in the Rose Medal anthology My Very End of the Universe. She published her first full-length collection of poetry, My Mother's Transvestites, in 2020. She is currently at work on a collection of creative nonfiction flash. Hello, Tiff. And Tiff and I have actually hung out in person in England, haven't we? Are you there? Where did you go? Tiff disappeared. Oh no. Where's Tiff?
Here I am. There I am. I just muted myself. Dogs are chewing their bones at my feet.
Thought I scared you away.
No.
Okay.
However, I cannot open my poem because Tori, my secure support person, left. I'm going to call her down. Alexa, drop in on Office. This is how I talk to my daughter these days.
You talk to your daughter through Alexa, or?
Yes. Tori, Tori, I need you to come and unlock this computer. It locked itself. Okay, she'll be right down. She's quick, and we were worried about the dogs barking the whole time, so I took a whole bag of rawhides and just poured them on the floor. All the ones I've taken away from them, plus some that have never been chewed on, so fresh meat. So they're excited, but I didn't know the password to get in here.
This is really special because we get to see at least the shoulder of your lovely daughter.
Yeah, well, here, let's see my lovely daughter.
Hello. Hi, lovely daughter. Hi, I've hung out with the lovely daughter as well.
Yeah, so okay, this is a piece that I published oh, did you want to introduce me or something, or did you already do that?
I did, but I can reintroduce
No,
you.
I don't need to be introduced.
Okay.
I was solicited for this piece from People Holding magazine, and then when we went to find People Holding, we couldn't find it anymore. So I hope it's not gone. Okay. She just gave me a piece of paper in case I get locked out again. I'm lucky she takes good care of me. Anyway, so they give you a picture and you write about it. And it was a girl in front of like a moped, really. But it sparked to this. So it's called The Bike May Have Been Orange. The first time I saw a dead body, it wasn't a body, just a head impaled on a spike on a telephone pole. There might have been a body there hanging underneath, but I didn't see it. It was early spring and the lake was just coming alive, smelling like supercharged ions and fish. We were almost to the duck crossing sign just after the custard stand when suddenly Dad put his right hand up in front of my eyes, the way he did at movies when I was little. We were on our way to the post office to drop off his sweepstakes entries. My father's goal in life was to win a trip to Hawaii. I helped him fill out entries and highlight the edges of the envelopes front and back with highlighters. He entered all kinds of sweepstakes, but for trips to Hawaii, he drew crossed palm trees with waves and a sunset in between them. He had fancy markers with a tropical palette. We passed the turquoise for the sea and lime to highlight the palm fronds, back and forth across the kitchen table in the evenings after dinner. Every Saturday, we took the entries to the mailbox at the plaza, only about a mile away. Each of us took half the stack and checked every element, address, stamp, return, address, before dumping them in, half a dozen or so at a time, leaving as little to luck as possible. We had to drive because the lakes made walking so dangerous, the lanes skinny, pressed up against the lakes on one side, with barely enough room to walk on the dry side. In Portage Lakes, everything is so close and at the same time, so far away. If you go down Portage Lakes Drive, a trip might take you a minute, but if you have to go around, like the time they repaved the road, you have to go 10 miles out of your way. You have to get on the expressway even for one exit. Dad dropped his hand from my eyes to navigate the worst bend between East and West Turkey Foot Lakes, which only had about 20 feet between them distance-wise, with a custard stand where East Turkey Foot Road dead-ended and a boathouse on the edge of West Turkey Foot across the street. The girl on the pole, her face looked like that of a girl hung between, the girl on the pole, her face looked like that of a girl hung between the turkey foots. Despite Dad's best efforts, I saw her, hair short like mine, only red and mussed up, sweaty looking where it poked out from under her helmet, which was still on, but crooked, the chin strap dangling like it hadn't been fastened. There were 2 cops standing there, blocking any view, probably trying to decide how to get her down. Once we were past her, I saw Dad look in the rear view, but I didn't, because he was right to put his hand up. I didn't want to see a real-life deadhead or body. I was used to them on TV, bodies anyway, but soldiers mostly, covered by sheets on MASH, masks on their faces for imaginary anesthesia. And the slow traffic, without meaning to, I got a pretty good look. Or maybe I looked closer than I thought, hoping for proof she wasn't dead. Her blue eyes were really wide open, big eyes she had, and there was just a drop of blood on her lip. I wondered how she got so high up on the pole, above the top of the men's uniform hats. I thought she might have been doing a wheelie or something, but Dad said most likely she had to jam on her brakes. Motorcycles are hard to see, he said. Across from the boathouse, a red Kawasaki was upside down, its wheels still spinning, trying to get away. As we passed the bike, Dad did the unthinkable and pushed the button on his armrest until his window was halfway down. It was less than 70 degrees out, which was his official cutoff for open windows. "Do you know her?" he asked, an unlit cigarette, which seemed to have appeared from nowhere, bobbing on his bottom lip. I had been so busy thinking about her being dead that I hadn't thought about whether or not I knew her. Because of her helmet, because she was riding a motorcycle, I assumed she was older. The only redheads I knew were Rusty Gordon and Randy Fox, both twins with blonde-headed brothers, maybe a sister. My brain got stuck on that for a minute. The lighter popped out and Dad touched the orange coil to his Pall Mall. "I don't think so. Maybe we should go back." It seemed important to know if I knew her all of a sudden, if she was the sister of someone I knew or the daughter of one of Mom's customers at the beauty shop. I looked back over my shoulder. Contest entries slid off my lap and onto the floor. Dad put his hand on my shoulder. I turned back around. He pushed another button, and my window went all the way down. Without thinking, I set my elbow on it. When we got to the plaza, I stayed put while Dad went around, opened my door, and gathered the envelopes. He chucked them in the box all at once and didn't open the lid back up to make sure they'd gone down. We didn't go to the bank or look at the comics in the drugstore. I think he was trying to beat what was coming, knowing any help that was coming would have to go around because of the traffic, take that short patch on the expressway to get to her. But we only got as far as the boathouse when the sheriff stopped in front of us and put a hand up to stop the traffic. We watched as an ambulance perpendicular to the road backed up to the pole and stopped. Its lights were off.
Wow, that was incredible, Tiff. Thank you so much. Thank you for reading that story. That was so hard-hitting and beautiful, beautifully
And true,
written.
of course,
Oh, really? Oh,
as
gee.
always.
Oh, I didn't, yeah, I wondered that. Wow, what an image. Jeez. Thank you. So next we have Louella Lester. Hi. Louella Lester, a Winnipeg, Canada writer, photographer, has been published in a variety of journals, anthologies, and nominated for, well, is in Best Microfiction 2024. She is a contributing editor for New Flash Fiction Review. Her quirky flash creative nonfiction book about all the jobs she's done, Glass Bricks, and it is fantastic, is published by At Bay Press, and she's holding it up. Welcome. Welcome, Louella.
Thanks, Meg. Yeah, my long-suffering publisher, the man at Ad Bay Press, I always feel guilty whenever I see him because I'm horrible at PR. So today I did my job. Okay, thank you very much, Meg and Francine, and all the readings they were just great. And thank you to my friends and family members who showed up today to support me, and all the other audience members. And I'm gonna, you know what, I'm switching the order I'm gonna do things because I thought the first one I'm gonna read is more serious, and I wanted to end with something a little more not so serious. So the first piece I'm gonna read is the piece that's going to be in Best Microfiction 2024. I'm just thrilled. It was published in Cult Magazine, the Cult Magazine out of New York, and it's called Past Imperfect. Lopsided. Mom was wrapping, tucking, and pulling the shoelace, demonstrating a perfect bow. Now you do the other foot. Wobbled. Dad was visiting, his long fingers going almost all the way around the football, touching the laces that face away, throwing a perfect spiral. You give it a try. Broken. My best friend was punching the pocket of her brother's old baseball glove, telling me to watch so I can imitate her, then examining the laces and perfectly catching the ball. Okay, now I'll throw to you. Torn. My older sister was lending me her favorite dress, helping me into it, the ribbon lacing up to perfectly cinch at the back. Don't try to undo it yourself or let some stupid boy at it, eh? Ripped. The guy at the bar was pulling a tiny pipe from his pocket, smiling with his perfect teeth, hooking his fingers into the laces fronting his jeans. Can you help me with this? Damaged. He was lying on a lumpy mattress on the floor, eyes perfectly glazed, saying, "Honey, there's no choice. We need the money," while smoking the last of something laced with something else. And the other one I'm going to read is a Lily story. And I've been writing Lily stories for many years. There's a couple of members of my writing group here, and some of them have heard a lot of them. I have 100 or more of them, and I keep planning to do a flash novella or something, and I just always get sidetracked. So this story is one of the Lily stories when Lily's in junior high, and it was published in the Odd magazine in February 2023. It's called In Her Own Words. Assignment. List 10 words that come to mind during English class today. Beside each word, write a sentence using that word and making its meaning clear. You may use a dictionary for help, but make sure the sentences are your own. 1. Harmless. Mr. Mellon is usually harmless because he's not mean and he tries his best to help his students, and he would never intentionally hurt them. 2. Exhausted. Mr. Mellon is exhausted because his wife just had twins, and also because he teaches English to a bunch of Hicktown teens who, except for his best student, Lily, don't read much. 3. Dreamy. Mr. Mellon is not a dreamy looking guy, but he gets a dreamy look in his eyes when he talks about word origins, what he calls etymology, which is his favorite thing. 4. Cliche. Mr. Mellon is the cliche of an absent-minded teacher with his half glasses, bushy mustache that catches crumbs when he eats, bow tie and tweed jacket. 5. Unaware. Mr. Mellon is unaware that things are getting a bit lively in the classroom while his eyes are closed and his chin is resting on his hand above his elbow, which is resting on the desk beside a pile of assignments that he should be marking. 6. Rambunctious. A couple of guys are now arm wrestling and swearing and getting rather rambunctious while Mr. Mellon is starting to snore. 7. Spittle. Mr. Mellon is really conked out now, and a string of spittle is running like a spider silk thread from the corner of his mouth down to the assignments on his desk, and I sure hope mine is not on the top of the pile. 8. Lethal. If Mr. Mellon were awake, it's not likely that an idiot teenage boy would fire a pointy lethal weapon like a compass across the classroom. 9. Embedded. Mr. Mellon does not wake up even after the compass thrown across the classroom misses its target and becomes embedded in an innocent person's arm. 10. Kerfuffle. After the kerfuffle dies down, I get tissues and wipe off my friend's bloody arm. Then Mr. Mellon's chin slips off his hand. He opens his eyes and says, "Settle down, class." Thanks.
Thank you so much, Louella. I really hope we do get a Lily novella sometime in the near future or a novel. Cannot wait.
You'll have to keep bugging me.
I will keep bugging you.
Okay.
So now I'm going to turn it back to, you guys were absolutely amazing. I'm going to turn it back to the wonderful Francine Witte in New York. Take it away, Francine.
Thank you so much, Meg, and thank you to all of the readers. Once again, Barbara Westwood Diehl, Matt Kendrick, Joanna Thiess, Andrea Marcusa, Dave Alcock, Mikki Aronoff, Claire Bateman, Guy Biederman, Tiff Holland, Louella Lester, I'm sorry. You were all wonderful, amazing. And I want to read more of your work, which is kind of a segue into my saying, we have a Facebook page, Prose Garden, where if you do have a question as to, where can I find so-and-so's work, like that would be a good place to ask it. If you're wondering how to find the Prose Garden page, just do a search and we'll let you join.
Francine, it's actually a group. I just wanted to make that clear. It's
a website, a group.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you did. So just, search for it and we'll let you in, we'll admit you. And, we don't have like a lot of, junk going on in there. So it's pretty simple once you join. It's just more like a gathering place. And if you do have a question about someone you heard here and you like what they read and you want to know more about them, that would be a great place to find out. Maybe you missed what their website was, etc. Anyway, so thank you so much, everybody here in the Zoom room. As I said, we know you could have been doing anything else, but you were here and we appreciate it and love you. And I'm Francine Witte in New York City and Meg Pokrass in the UK. And we will be back next month in the Prose Garden monthly lit reading series. Thank you all and drive safely. Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.